Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Colin, but my friends call me Proto Colin, and I help out with ecosystem development for the Filecoin project. I'm absolutely honored to participate in today's Web3 talk, and I really want to say a huge thank you up front to the entire NKN team, Bruce, Alan, and others for inviting us to participate and for organizing this awesome event. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there live today, but I'm delighted to present a quick overview of the Filecoin project and highlight some recent ecosystem momentum over video today. So first, I'll touch on why the Filecoin project exists. Filecoin's mission is to create a decentralized, efficient, and robust foundation for humanity's information. We truly believe that humanity's most valuable resource is information. And we're incredibly passionate about storing and protecting that valuable resource in an efficiently priced and distributed way. This means addressing some of the major problems of today's infrastructure, from decentralizing the cloud away from a small number of centralized providers to giving users full control over their data, turning data storage pricing into an efficient market, allowing the network to set prices rather than any corporate pricing departments, making storage verifiable, and lastly, optimizing the world's storage and putting the zettabytes of latent storage capacity around the world to use. What this means for miners is that we move from a world where a small number of cloud storage providers control how your data is stored and priced to a completely global open market where anyone can become a data storage provider and where the network itself can store content on every corner, bringing content right to the edge where it's needed the most by a set of clients. Now, there are two components to the Filecoin protocol: the storage market, which is on-chain, and the retrieval market, which is off-chain. In terms of the storage market, it's pretty simple. A client wants to store some data. Miners will compete with each other to win that storage contract and get the best pricing. And then once that contract is won, the Filecoin miner has to prove that they are storing the data properly by submitting some cryptographic proofs to the Filecoin chain. The off-chain market for Filecoin is called retrieval. And this basically means that when a client wants to retrieve a file, it will find a set of miners with the data and selects the fastest and most affordable one. As more people request that file, it becomes more popular and the data is spread to where the demand is actually growing. So access is optimized as the data flows worldwide. You can think of this as kind of a type of message propagation through Gossip Sub or something similar, but that happens completely off-chain and leads to that kind of scalability. And so the end result is data going right to the edge. This could be a crowded city, it could be an apartment building, it could be a rural area where bandwidth might be not optimal as well. So that's a little bit about the Filecoin project overview. I'll walk through a couple slides on the business case for Filecoin and the advantages over traditional non-blockchain solutions. As we all know, the amount of data being stored in the cloud is increasing exponentially. There's about 20 zettabytes per year that's being stored in 2020, and that's meant to grow significantly. There isn't as much data storage capacity to keep up with that. So what Filecoin does is transforms the fundamental business case and cost structure for what it means to be a data storage provider in 2020. As you can see, there's a lot that a data storage provider needs to provide in today's marketplace. But what Filecoin allows that data storage provider to do is to focus on the core business backend, a subset of the most valuable tasks that a data storage provider can do, and offloads the business front end to the Filecoin network itself, which is basically an aggregation of data storage providers all over the world. It's kind of similar to the powerful service Airbnb's storage network provides for individual homeowners to allow them to compete with larger hotels chains like Hilton or Marriott. So what that really means is that it takes a market with a few dominant data storage providers and allows all sorts of data storage providers to be able to compete effectively with the scale, reliability, and price efficiency of the larger players. And finally, what that really truly allows is that it allows anyone from a small mining rig, perhaps in your apartment, to an advanced data center to plug into the network and together provide a robust new foundation for humanity's information, our ultimate goal. So that's a little bit about the business case for Filecoin. I want to highlight a few things on the momentum of our current testnet. We have over 200 repos across the core protocol, Filecoin proofs, developer tooling and APIs, and products and applications built on top of it. We have 4 implementations of the Filecoin protocol in Rust, C++, and Go. We have over 1,240 cumulative open source contributors that have contributed to the Filecoin repos and to the Filecoin protocol outside of the Filecoin team itself. And that's even growing into June and July in the coming months ahead. Our current testnet, which is non-incentivized just yet, has actually garnered over 12 petabytes of information, which we believe can store basically all of Web3's data already before incentivization kicks in. And that represents over 1,000 active miners, many of which have really large data centers that they've showcased for the world on their Twitter accounts and social media. And just a few of which we're just have submitted logos, showcasing their testnet contributions to date. And so this is a collection of kind of the larger companies that are participating in the testnet today. And of course, we have global Filecoin communities all over the world that are still doing meetups, both virtually and in person when it's safe. I'll highlight 2 areas where you can actually get involved in today's testnet. The first of which is HackFS. This is a month-long hackathon where hundreds of developers will bond together, form teams, and build substantial applications on top of Filecoin. That kicks off in just a few days on July 6th. So please apply. There's already been hundreds of applications, and we're excited to kick this off. And 2 is the Filecoin testnet incentives. This kicks off on January 20th, and this will be a series of competitions from miners all over the world to win up to 4 million Filecoin in testnet incentives, which is very substantial. So please participate and be included there as well. Now, I'll race through a range of use cases that Filecoin hopes to support on mainnet launch, the first of which is decentralized applications. And we're very fortunate that the IPFS ecosystem is absolutely flourishing, growing about 10x from its previous high watermark last year. There's all sorts of applications across a whole bunch of categories, many of which require a persistent storage layer that a service like Filecoin would make really good use of. And so we're making it very easy for these applications to integrate with Filecoin in very meaningful ways. I'll highlight just 3 of those applications that are already integrating with Filecoin right now. First of which is Textile. They're building a solution called PowerGate, which is kind of the Swiss Army knife for developers on Filecoin. You can think of it as an easy-to-use interface to store and retrieve data from Filecoin, and it also exposes a really intuitive developer API. The next is called Fleek, which is adding Filecoin support for its file storage solution that currently makes it easy to upload, store, and fetch files from IPFS in a performant and familiar way. And finally, Haven and OpenBazaar, who have built a free online decentralized eBay-style marketplace that is built on top of IPFS. They're integrating Filecoin as a payment mechanism into their marketplace. Next, early use case is large data sets. So one application I'd like to highlight here is Starling, which we've collaborated with a number of dev shops to kind of build this, which basically moves very large archival data sets that need to be verifiable onto Filecoin. We have a couple of these examples that we're going to be showcasing over the coming months. We've also launched Filecoin Discover, which is a tool to discover culturally important data sets that we're storing on the Filecoin network. And these will all be available at launch, from the Ethereum blockchain to really core scientific data to many, many other data sets that we think are very culturally relevant. And finally, I'd like to highlight just a variety of other use cases that are already integrating with Filecoin, from storing and backing up all of Web3's data to video publishing. There are a number of applications that are already transcoding and streaming on Filecoin in the coming months, to social media dApps, to games and game distribution platforms, to storing virtual world data, which are significantly large files, to developer assets like package managers, registries, storing and distributing containers, et cetera. So far, we've actually granted 3 waves of about 45 dev grants, totaling $1.5 million. And the deadline for wave 4 actually happens in just a few days on July 1st. So please check out that link if you're interested to apply for a dev grant. Now, looking forward, I'll just highlight that we are here making a transition from the internet to Web 1 to Web 2 to what we all really believe in this room, which is Web 3, a system where we can read and write with applications, but have trust embedded in that and verifiability embedded in that ecosystem. And while Web3 has been around for about a decade or so, what I truly believe and I'm passionate about is accelerating the transition from Web 2 to Web 3. We contributed in some ways with Filecoin and IPFS, but there are so many other applications and protocols around the room today and in the audience that are accelerating that transition. And if we can get that UX right and make that Web 3 compelling enough where it's just an obvious switch from Web 2 to Web 3, I think that will serve all of our hopes and dreams that we're all striving towards in this particular room today. So I want to say a really big thank you for being invited to this conference, to the organizers for putting this all together, and to the many folks in this room that are contributing to accelerating that transition from Web 2 to Web 3. Whether you're working on Filecoin or one of the other many protocols represented here, you're the future of Web 3. And I thank you for in a truly heartfelt way for your contributions and for attracting, really enthusiastic folks like myself into the space to make that happen. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.